We say things like, leave the light on, leave the path open, no barriers between you and your adult child so they can get to you directly, easily, when they need and want to, when they're ready to. Welcome back to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away podcast. This is dedicated to one of the most painful and one of the least talked about experiences a family can go through, estrangement. I'm Dr. Janet Steinkamp. If you're new to these conversations, please know that this is a no blame, no shame, no judgment community. As many of you know, Bri and I have started hosting virtual office hours. And not surprisingly, you all are bringing really important topics to those office hours, and the discussions have been really important. So Bri and I have decided that we want to bring some of those topics to what we are now calling after hours. So when you see episodes that refer to after hours, you'll know that it's a summary or it's the high points from one of the office hour sessions. If you had to miss office hours, it's a great way to get caught up and know what we talked about. Keep in mind, these episodes are a very light touch on these important topics and not a deep dive into the conversations. Everything in estrangement is complex and nuanced, and these topics really do require more consideration and a larger conversation. So these are quick episodes just to touch on the topics, and then you'll see other episodes related. So today's topic from our last office hours is the message behind the message. And what do we mean by this? This topic in the conversation directly relates to decoding messages that you receive, how we interpret them, the filters that we see messages and hear messages through, the emotions that we experience when we read them, and importantly, what's going on in that communication for our adult child. What is the timing for them? What's sparking the communication? What language are they using? What's really being said after we decode? So, Brianna, remind us what the main topics were, or the main points.
So we had talked about understanding whose voice you're hearing through the communication. Might not just be your adult child's voice. Also, words versus intention. What are they trying to say versus what are you perceiving it as? And then the context of the message. So what's going on in their lives that could be affecting how this message is written.
Right.
Or spoken, or, whatever, however the communication comes out.
Right. So when you say, or when we talked about the idea that there are other voices that might be coming through the influential others or the context, we talked about things like, you've heard this list before, attorneys, therapists, social media, gatekeepers, if you're divorced, maybe an ex-partner or the other parent that might be involved, siblings. Another one that I thought was really interesting and different was that they might be understanding that their children are going to grow up and perhaps read these messages, right? You don't know where communication, especially written or recorded, is going to go. So you might consider when you read the message, those potential other voices or influences. So when we talk about words versus intention and timing, say more about that.
So with words versus intention, I think it involves a few different things. One, understand that your adult child is writing or speaking from a very emotional standpoint. This is a big moment for them that they're creating these boundaries or making these requests or stating these things that they've never said before. So it's hard for them, and it's emotional, and they're at like peak level of emotional bandwidth, most likely. Maybe not even just from this topic, but usually there's a lot going on in life that is involved and kind of feeds into all this. So understand that they're coming from high emotion, which means you cannot respond with high emotion. It just won't be effective. Which is why we've said continuously that emotion needs to be removed from all communication on your end, because just like any relationship, if there's a disagreement and two people are both coming at it with high emotions, the best thing to do, we all hopefully know, is to walk away and take a breath. So it's same with this. They're high emotion, you coming in with high emotion, it's not going to be functional or productive. And the space can be seen as just walking away and taking a breath, thinking through what's actually being said, why it's being said, how you should respond. You kind of, when you give yourself that time, you're able to think those things through more. Because even just simple wording can change things. It's important to understand that your child is writing or speaking from a place of high emotion. So they may not be thinking through. They're not worried really about how this lands with you. They're saying things that they need to say, that they've wanted to say for a long time, probably. So your adult child is likely not prioritizing your comfort in reading the letter or perceiving their communication. They are saying things that they're at a moment where they're like, I'm just going to say it. I've wanted to say it forever. I got to get it out. So their word choice may not be great. Their intention might be different than how it's coming off. Also, if there's other people involved, you need to give yourself time to kind of break apart their message and think about what's really coming from them, what sounds like it's being influenced. Oftentimes situations can be escalated if there's others involved. So if they're talking about something in the past, they might use words that you don't feel are fitting or make you uncomfortable, but you just need to, it's the perfect time to not use emotions, even though it's
Right.
also the most natural time to have emotions and
Have
want
emotions.
to, these are really most likely hurtful things from a parent's point of view. Really, I mean, the whole situation's hurtful. So nothing besides I love you and I want to reconnect, nothing's going to feel good.
So one thing that I thought was really interesting in the conversation that came up was that when you read the message the first time, and if you wait 72 hours and you read it again, you hear it differently, you read it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing to look out for is AI. Is this your adult child, or are they using AI, which is a weird thing now. It's new and different. And there's this great feature on, I don't know, Word. I've used it on AI communication that I receive, and that is to have it read to you. The read-aloud feature, to have a message read, it really takes exactly what you're saying, takes all the emotion out and sort of neutralizes that so we can hear it differently. Another thing that we've talked about is trigger words. If your adult child lands on a word, I think of the words like trauma, abuse. Those have become really triggering words for parents. And we have to remember that what they mean today are very different than what they meant to us when we were raising our children. Very different, very different. What do you think about some of that conversation?
Yes, I agree. I think the point about waiting and rereading it is great. In terms of the trigger words, there's a lot of words that feel very strong and sensitive to us that are thrown around now pretty loosely.
Right.
That's not to take away anybody's experiences, but they're
They just
just
have
much,
different meaning. They're not,
yeah,
they just are different now.
they just hold a different weight. So that's certainly one thing if, social media is influencing them, or there's just though social media is one of the platforms where those words are used a lot, very frequently and very loosely, and things can start feeling different while you're expressing yourself emotionally. So you just have to keep that in mind. We were also talking about kind of like the hidden messages. So their intention may just be, and this kind of goes into the next point as well. Their intention, your adult child's intention, may just be, I need space. I need you to not respond. Things are complicated. I can't explain it to you. I am telling you I need you to stop communicating with me. And that is that. And it might come out in a million different ways. And they
Right.
might say things that are hurtful to push you away. You don't know what they're doing. But if you can read between all of the lines or catch little nuggets of your child coming through in the letter, just consider what they might actually be trying to say. And if you take the emotion out of it, it doesn't have to be offensive. Something is too much right now for your adult child. Something, whether it be everything or a couple things or whatever it is. Usually you don't get to the point of pushing your parents out unless everything else in life is absolutely unmanageable or too much, and your parent is one of the safest things to let go. And that's really backwards and probably not nice to hear, but it's the truth.
I think what you're saying there is that it's not unusual for an adult child to really know that their parent loves them. They love their parent, and that bond is not easily going to go away. So there's some bandwidth there to push and demand space and maybe hurt feelings and say some things that are awful in order to get that space. And the risk there is less than pushing on some other relationships in your life, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So we need to remember as parents that if that is what is going on, we say things like, leave the light on, leave the path open, no barriers between you and your adult child so they can get to you directly, easily, when they need and want to, when they're ready to. And we still, as parents, need to go on with our lives. We have to find a way to come to peace or come to terms with the situation and still be able to find purpose. And it's okay to laugh. It's okay to find our way to feeling good about how we spend our days. Everybody gets one life. We only get one life. And yes, we impact each other. So I think what you're saying is really important. Our adult children are, in many cases, trusting that we're not going to just shut the door and say never again. That there is going to be some stuff to work through, but they just can't do it right now. And the only way they know to build space is to push us away hard. Is it right? We don't want it to be that way. Is it easy? Is it kind? Is it compassionate? Is it easy to hear? No, none of that. Nothing about this is easy. And yet, I cannot tell you how often I hear after parents reconnect with their children that it wasn't really about them. The part that was about the parent was that they couldn't get enough space to work out whatever was going on. And parents are often very surprised to hear that.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So, Brianna, this has been a really good conversation. I appreciate kind of going over those high points in our virtual office hours. People, if you're listening, we want you to know that we love to know what's on your mind. We want to know how we can be most helpful. We need you to come to office hours so we can have these conversations and really be in direct, live contact. If this episode stirred something up for you and you want to keep exploring this or talking about it more, whether there's something really personal or something very specific, or you want to make some space to process with Bri and with me, I'd love to have you jump over to the whenouradultchildrenwalkaway.com website and either click on office hours so you can register to come to a future session, or click on the coaching and you can schedule a one-on-one appointment. And if this episode was helpful, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to the podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Dr. Janet Steinkamp, that's the prompt, or again, wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you know somebody else who's struggling with this and you want to help them find the right words with their adult child, share this episode with them, please. Sometimes just knowing someone else is asking the same questions can make all the difference.
Thank you for listening to When Our Adult Children Walk Away, presented by Dr. Janet Steinkamp in partnership with Balancing Life's Issues and produced by me, Kai. Want to connect with Dr. Janet? You can find resources, connect with her directly, and learn more about the work we do at whenouradultchildrenwalkaway.com. And be sure to follow and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube. Anything else to add, Miles?
Yeah.